Having a little rave. Sorry about that, I got a little confused. But anyway, hello and welcome back to the desk. We've seen another kind of, I say another predictable result, but one of the few games we thought was going to go one way and it did. It's kind of an odd feeling coming back to the desk and going, we said Fnatic would win and they did. Oh, okay. Because we had a whole lot of the other side of things and we're finally witnessing the Fnatic winning when they should. Keystars, though, didn't really get off to a strong start. 16-5 that final score. Anders, any pointers for this game?
I mean, it's hard to know how they can improve from that result. There's a really one-sided match. Some good individual performances. I mean, that the start to the pistol round, like the second half for getting 4 kills, was really impressive. It again shows that he's a very strong player. But I mean, going into the second match here, I mean, maybe you guys have already run into this in matchmaking and stuff. There's a concept of a spin bot, and maybe that could be the key for Keed, you know. I think that's the level. But actually, seriously, what's
key for Keed? I saw what you did there. Oh, that was nice. Yeah. Okay.
Look, actually, seriously, what was really scary about this match for me was the fact that it wasn't even olofmeister like going completely ham on this. It was actually Crims going like completely mad. He had like 15-2 at some point. I think 9 rounds into the game. So, and that's something that I think we mentioned it, but didn't really dig into it. It's the fact that even if some, we kind of make it sound like sometimes that olofmeister is the only one who can carry Fnatic, but the fact is that even if Olof doesn't do too well, then Crims is there, and even if they both don't do too well, then someone else is there to step it up, and that's what we saw.
Yeah, to put this map short, there were opportunities to be had for Keed early on in this match. But then as the match progressed, it felt like Fnatic were just many steps ahead, especially late round, and there were just nothing going on for Keed.
Yeah. So, and very little to be said for Inferno. Devilwalk, anything else that stood out to you?
Yeah, I kind of felt like one of the T rounds they actually won Keed. Kind of felt like it was Fnatic kind of solo aggression a bit everywhere. They got picked off. Apartments, Pronax, I think someone went and peaked middle, got picked off, and they kind of won the round because they didn't really do like a synergized aggression in any way, and I kind of felt like it was a bit of a sloppy play from Fnatic. In that round.
So almost, some of Keed's rounds were given to them by Fnatic. Is the way you describe it?
I mean, they still hit the shot and they were still like pretty impressive. But I mean, it felt like it was unnecessary to do those aggressive moves.
And then, of course, moving away from Inferno into second map, which will be, I believe, is Train. That's going to be exciting for Fnatic because I haven't seen these players yet this tournament. We haven't seen Train once actually so far in the Pro League finals. This will be our first taste of it, and it took us this long to get there. So, I mean, for Fnatic, they're quite comfortable on Train. You were saying that earlier, Devilwalk.
Yeah, they think Train is a really fun map, and they've played it. I've seen them practice, like seen on Steam, and it's one of the maps they're the most comfortable at the moment. I feel like it's something they've just played it, and it kind of works the same way they used to play it. I mean, even like LGB back in the day with Olof and Crims, they still played a very aggressive style of CT, which kind of fits with the other players, how they're used to playing the old Train. So they have good synergy still.
Yeah, and T side, I feel like the T quad part, they have 2 quads now, and olofmeister would have to be, I think, the best right now doing that and working that and really getting those first picks. And then you see a swarm of Fnatic players just running out on yard when they get the first pick, and it just seems to be a map right now that really suits their playstyle.
Anders?
No, I agree, absolutely. I think Fnatic are quite a good team on this map, and you're right, olofmeister in that A courtyard, really hard to stop. We saw that multiple times online during the season. I'm struggling now to remember, but when I heard that Cloud9 was going to be playing Envy, I thought, all right, I have like one trick on Train that I haven't really shown anyone. So I was like, Sean, maybe you should try this. And Sean was like, oh, maybe they never got to play Train, right? They ended in 2-0. Okay. But I told Fallen as well. I can't remember if I told Fnatic. So maybe both teams know, maybe they don't. But there's a special trick on the neighbor courtyard that can be used.
There was a moment where, was it the Hellraisers game where the smokes that you recently made a tutorial they were doing on Train?
That's we're not talking about it anymore.
That's something that I will relentlessly bring up. The fact that we will see Anders' tutorials being used by even the highest tier. That's some advertisement for you, Anders. That's what I've just done for you. And talking of advertisement, also need to talk about theScore eSports, where they have an application available on iOS and the Google Play Store, where you can talk about all esports as well as catch up on all the latest news. It is time for us to introduce your casting team for this one, and it's time for us to find out if Fnatic can do it in 2 and progress into that semi-final. So I can introduce your casting team once again. It's Lauren and Moses.
Thank you so much, guys, on the desk once again. Lovely to hear from you all, and nice to see that Alex is cooling down a little. He doesn't look so glistening like he was before, so he's been powdered up.
I have no sympathy. We were on jackets all day yesterday. He was just hanging out next to the fan.
That's true. I'm glad they've taken the fan away from him. It was
we
unfair
thought about
treatment.
putting the coat on him and just having him stand in the sun for 30 minutes as payback.
It's a good punishment. I think we should do that. We'll embrace it. If he headbutts another piece of the set, we'll set him outside to the sun. But still, let's talk about Train now. It's going to be the next map coming up. You heard Anders on there kind of going through what he's been discussing. There are a lot of new tips and tricks on this one, a lot of new smokes, and the way people play it are starting to really kind of find its full in-depth kind of structure, at least a lot more than when it started to. So I haven't seen too much of Keed. I've seen a little of Fnatic on here. What has Keed been performing like on this map specifically to your recollection?
Well, same thing I talked about, yesterday at the start of the tournament. One of the tendencies of Keed Stars is a double up setup with Fallen and ZQK. They've been reliant on it on certain maps all through the season. Dust 2 comes to mind, which could be the third map. This map as well, they pick up a double up. Now, that might have changed since ZQK has become the in-game leader. But, this is something that's a strategy that they like to have even on their Terra side at times. So, they're going to be looking, that's going to slow things down if they have two ups on the Terra side. They're going to be looking for picks, and on the CT side, they're going to try and just block off those choke points with it as early as possible. They're going to have to take those duels against the Fnatic members to try and whittle them down as they come out the choke point outside into that train yard.
Yeah, but my mind can't help but think of how strong JW is on this map as well. Like, you could pick a million highlights of this guy. You give him the AWP, he gets the perfect map to really pull it into place. But we'll be heading into this one straight away. It will be Keed up against Fnatic. This is map 2. Map 1 was quite the one-sided affair, a 16-5 result in favor to the delightful Fnatic. But Keed have their chance here. I feel this is probably their better chance more than anything to really get this one started. And does Steel have armor?
No, he does not. Once again, this is going to come down towards that if Fnatic starts CT side, it's just going to be crazy difficult for Fnatic or for Keed Stars, excuse me, to really.
You went through both of them.
Yeah, I went through just about everyone in the server. Eventually, I hit it, but it is going to be Fnatic starting on that CT side, and this is just going to be no mercy. Once again, just a huge mountain to climb for Keed Stars. Another map that's not known for being generous to gaining Terra-sided rounds.
No, I'm actually excited, one, to see if Keed can bring something a little new, a little different, a little bit of spice into this one. And I'm also so excited to see Fnatic, how just clinically good they are at this map. How many of those small kind of like nuanced positions they can bring out. You see that little boost that comes into play that JW occasionally sits on just by the connector. There's so many things that they do just so damn well. But we are ready to get into this one on the CT side. No surprises. Fnatic on the T side. Keed Stars gonna have to go big. And let's see what they bring out to start with. What are we seeing here?
Solid setup by Fnatic so far. Flesha pushed up towards that lower ramp, so he's actually just going to quickly smoke it off. He has that CZ, which is pretty scary, but Keed Stars behind this, they're going to use that smoke to cross. It looks like they want to gain control of this box halls, and they're just going to walk down. They could come running through this smoke and do a blender of Flesha.
Well, let's see if Flasher can do what Flasher does. This guy is incredible with the CZ normally. His control is second to none, but it doesn't matter. The Glock train is not going off the rails, and the bomb does look like it's going to be planted right about now. ZQK follows it up with a kill towards Olaf, and now the 3 remaining Fnatic players are struggling to get back into this one.
Oh yeah, the entries just came so quick. Flusher was not ready for them to come through the smoke like that. Not even throwing a smoke of their own. They just burst through and they take one out. And crucially, they push up down those train lanes. They get aggressive in the alleyways between the train cars, and that keeps Fnatic at bay. It keeps them so far back, and nothing landed. But now we have that second round bye against Fnatic, and we saw how punishing it was for Keed Stars not being able to handle it so well in Inferno.
This almost happened twice as well. Whenever Fnatic got pushed to this, they were able to actually pull it off. It blows my mind. And JW goes aggressive, does get met by ZQK though, and the sheer aggression coming out from Keed is pretty unreal. They're not stopping. They don't care what they're up against. They're just piling into this, and so far it's working out, but look how low they are. All down to dire amounts of health, and Olaf is starting to land these shots. That 2 already just about backs it up. But now he's got 3 more to find. Steel's manageable, Fur maybe, but then there's Fallen on 83 HP. This is not a particularly easy one. He's so far back out. I think he's going to just chill this one out, but Keed are looking so aggressive here.
Yeah, and that's what they needed. That's what they were missing on Inferno. They just some slower strategies. They weren't doing team aggression, and Fnatic really didn't have any trouble against it. So this time they've sped things up. It almost looked very similar to how like Virtus Pro likes to get out of that bomb site. They push down the lanes aggressively as a team, and now they're even, Keed Stars is even hunting down Olaf here. They do not want him to survive with this scout. And they've got him boxed in. It's only going to be Fallen going for it. He's the only one who can survive 2 tags of the scout, and Olaf isn't looking this way, but he pushes into CT spawn. He's got great cover, so he is going to salvage that scout into the next round.
Nicely done there. We'll have to see if he can maybe find a little more. He already got, I think, 2 kills into that round. So, you know, they're not getting away perfectly clean, Keed. There's still a little bit of punishment there. But this is a great beginning for Keed. This is what they need on this map. Just some way to really kick off, get that confidence building, get a little more buffer on the board, considering they've done better than, you know, how they started the last one off. So, a little bit of a blinding flash coming through towards A. That's how they're just going to go for this one straight out again. But look at this play from Fnatic. 4 players pushed up quite far towards that outer side. But now it's going to be Flusher dealing with 3, pushing towards B. And Flusher's going to be in trouble here.
Yeah, and he's going to start getting wrapped upon too. But the rotation comes in. Olaf and Connector slows down Steel, but he's brought so low. There's Flusher getting aggressive. He finds the kill. He has got a Galil to work with now. 21 bullets, but the aim punch, too difficult to handle.
You always start worrying, though, when it's Flusher in those situations. You give him a second, and he might just do it. But still, JW and Pronax, the last 2 alive. Pronax did pick up the scout here, so does manage to find bolts. ZQK having to deal with JW, and still a little dangerous. You know, they're actually pretty low, and it looks like Pronax does want to maybe have a little bit of another peek in here. He did see him on the side, doesn't get the scout shot to hit, but JW is going to... Oh, if he'd gone for on the right side, he might have just found Fallen, but they do lock it down. And now Pronax not in a position to achieve this one. First going to find the final kill, and that's a clean 3 rounds coming in. That's quite impressive.
Yeah, nicely done from Keatstar. So they fixed some of those anti-eco problems by just... I mean, that was a great call. ZQK just coming out mid and that trying to scout things out. Wasn't trying to go for any kills, just seeing what he could find, and then they hit that inner bomb site. Now comes the gun rounds. No AWP for Fnatic. Just going to be the M4s and... there's only 1 kit, actually. Only JW has a kit to work with, so they're going to have to keep in mind of where that's at. But look at Keatstar's 3 members in that terrorist choke point, and Fnatic's getting aggressive now.
Yeah, you've got Crims pushing up, and JW by Electric Box. They're not far off this. If there's commitment, this could get painful. Olaf's actually watching the cross perfectly as well. He's going to claim Steel down. The flashes come in. JW does fall, so they get a little more room to breathe. But as said, Crims was still there, and Fnatic looking like they want to just put themselves behind the smokes. And it's Olaf going on the flank. Look at this play. He just about hears ZQK. He comes around perfectly, takes him out of the picture. The last 2 players alive are in such an awkward position now.
Yeah, they're stuck in the old hell. Now they've only got that wall with the train between them, but Bolts does find one. He had some great entries on Inferno. They've got a decent situation. They've got to pick up that bomb, but Pronax coming out of alley is going to be able to spot any of that. He's got a great angle.
Oh, but Bolts just got flashed into that peak. He knows where Pronax was and does tag him up, but doesn't get the kill. The bomb, I think, is going down with Fur. And now 2v2. This is going to be a tough one to hold and actually a tough one to retake, but Crims and Pronax looking to maybe where Bolts is actually playing. They look like... Oh my god, Crims! What on earth? He just took down Pronax by sheer accident, but Fur now in a 1v1. He's got a chance here, and he goes for the early peek, but Crims! He took down his own teammate and then had to step up, and he does. But that is unreal. Crims, why did you just make it harder for yourself? It was like, do you know what? It wasn't difficult enough already in an even 2v2. Let me make it a little more difficult.
That's a mistake you don't see too often, and more importantly, the only way you make up for it is by winning the ensuing 1-on-2, and
Yeah.
of course Crims does it, but it's one of those things where you kind of say, sorry dude, but it was a pretty nice shot.
It was pretty beautiful. I guess they probably had an idea of where he was, and as soon as he saw a touch of something showing, he just took that shot. That was ridiculous. You do not see that at this caliber all that often. But mistakes are made when this is high pressure situations sometimes, but they do pick up the round regardless. We're going to see that smothering smoke coming into position, and once again, Keith just pushing straight through it. They don't like to sit back. They don't want to be passive. And another team kill, Bolts taking down Fur. What is going on in this game?
It's just, sometimes in train it gets hectic. All the flashbangs, all the smokes, and sometimes just a misplaced shot can ruin everything. But look at this. Steel, while his teammates have kind of been really aggressive outside, look at the position Bolts is in. That's fantastic. But the B bomb site is clear. Steel is pushing all the way through. So this gives them 2 opportunities.
This is brilliant.
Yeah, they can either rotate back towards B now, or they can just wait for Steel to find something on the flank. This could be huge.
And if Steel can get control in CT, he can basically allow ZQK to come in for free towards B. But I don't know if Steel's going to spot this out. He does hear Flusher. Oh, but he messes up the shot. Flusher just somehow corrects a little easier, but you should not be making errors like that. But they still have actually somehow then waited that out. And now they can readjust. It's somehow still kind of with Keith here if they play out and hit these shots for once.
Yeah, that's absolutely heartbreaking. It gave Bolts a lot of room to work with outside, though. He pushes up, takes a shot, but now Fnatic's going to start rotating back outside, and there's basically zero control right now for Keith. They're going to be able to get the bomb planted if they go for it here. but Fnatic is slowly corralling them into this central portion of the training yard. Boltz has got to win that fight, and he does.
Vital to get this, even just to a 2v2, but just to get control somewhere, or at least have some understanding of where Fnatic are. That nade could have done some work, but Pronax still pushes in Flusher as well. Boltz down so low, 13 HP. He's got to do some serious damage. Gonna adjust around. Boltz and ZQK gonna play it out. I think Boltz just maybe hurt him on top. He has, but Flusher finds him. It just went to nothing from that. Both of them getting peaked individually. The defuse comes in, and it was such a shame. It looked like they maybe have had a good setup for that, but it just kind of fizzled out.
I mean, that one kill by Steel was virtually the round. I mean, Boltz did a great job bringing it into a 2-on-2, but both of those players so incredibly low. And I mean, that's what goes back to some of those rounds on Inferno. You can't, when you have the advantage against Fnatic, you have to take control of it. You cannot give it right back to him, and Steel missing that shot seals the deal.
And it's I'll come back to my point a bit, because we are going to see once again a board-up Keed, but it kind of reminds me of what some of the Australian players were saying, that, you know, when they play in their own leagues, they can go for the same shots, they can play their own tactics, but you won't get, you know, chance to adjust like you do against your hometown. So if you miss that first shot, you might be able to get a second or two to adjust and then come back and make it again. You saw it here. You don't get that chance to miss shots against Fnatic. If you don't hit it well, if you don't hit your spray, they will punish you. You don't get that time to adjust. But still, this is a drastically slower round coming out from the T side now.
Yeah, switching things up a little bit, which is a little bit interesting, because they're putting themselves in good spots in the late round situations with that fast tactics. They just haven't converted them, but it is working to a certain degree. So now that they slow things down, Fnatic's got to be a little bit happy. Neither team really taking control of the economic situation.
I was wondering if they were going to try something then. Steel is in a position that he might do with ZQK, but not going to be the case. JW, Crims, and Pronax still holding strong, and time's going to start running out. They're down to 38 seconds.
Yeah, and this is very slow play. The choke points are smoked off, and how Pronax is going to have a great position. Swing out, he's going to not grab one, but the rest of Fnatic is just cleaning house.
Yeah, Fnatic just drawing the battle lines here, just defining it with those smokes that they're putting into place themselves after the smokes come in. Great shot from Fur, but I doubt he'll make a bigger impact into this round, as we will still have those 3 players left standing for Fnatic. And this is the one thing that I do love about Train, especially on the A-bomb side, is how you can draw your own map almost with the smokes. You define where you can play, and then the opposition obviously has the chance to do it back to you, and it's such a beautiful thing to see played out. But Keed obviously feeling the pinch here. They're down to the Tech 9s and got a couple of smokes, so they might be able to make a play for the back of this one. But Fnatic looking like they're building that momentum now.
Yeah, and that's the scary part, starting to build up a bank as well. This is where they can really come out on top if there's not a significant amount of damage done by Keatstars in this buy, or in this, you know, forced by Tech 9 upgrades. Then Fnatic might just start running with it. That's when they're going to be able to bring out some AWPs if they so choose.
Oh, I'd love to see JW with the AWP pretty soon. It's a beautiful sight to see on this map, T-side especially, but we are going to see the smokes put into place. Nothing fancy, just to do the job, but Amoli going to slow it down as well. But I think the smoke may have just put that one out, but Flush are just going to wait as they start pouring through. You get that wonderful view against the grey background of the smoke for him just to spray wild into. Nicely controlled on the last by Fnatic, and that's a very clean round.
Yeah, great defense, and that's the kind of the issue, is they didn't do any of that economic damage, so now it's going to start building up behind Fnatic. They all 5 have kits now. They all 5 have the M4s that they want. They can start repeatedly buying the Molotovs. I mean, that's going to force Keatstars to slow things down, and that's kind of the enigma of Fnatic's defense. Is they're a team that loves to take battles. They love to take those, you know, deathmatchy type fights, and they don't have to smoke off choke points to go aggressive. JW, as he spots one falling, but he can't convert it, just gets out of the way in time.
JW's play is always just something that you can never predict. I remember watching him push straight into Pop with an AWP on CT side, straight up there confident, not giving a care in the world. But ZQK will take down Crim, so that will at least maybe open up an opportunity here for T-side to work with. And slowly but surely you can see that creeping aggression from Olaf and JW just kind of engulfing the map.
Yeah, covering all angles at the moment. Still a lot to work with on the side of Keatstars with this man advantage once again really early on, over a minute left for him. And that's going to pull JW into his position where it looked like he almost wanted to rotate. So this is looking at Fnatic. They don't have a great read. There is a push over towards Alley, but Keatstars looks like they're aligning. They're falling back, and it looks like they want to go over towards the B site.
So I think it was Fallen just faking out maybe the smoke towards A. And I'm not sure if he's actually going to join Fur, but they are certainly considering the A play here, and they've not committed again, just putting one smoke into place, allowing Fur in, and actually it's done pretty well. He's taken down JW, but bear in mind, Pronax and Olaf are still pretty close here, and that bomb isn't. That's gone B. This is a really nice play from Keed.
Yeah, this is a stellar fake. They use the smokes outside to let one player lurk. He gets the kill they needed, and they hit inside. So Fallen, he drops Olofmeister from long range in a 4-on-2. Fnatic's either got to find the kills quickly or just call it a save. Flush is so incredibly low now after that battle, and there's the save call.
Exactly. Straight away, turn tail, get out of there. You're not going to get back in this one. But that was really nicely done.
Yeah,
I've got to give credit to that. And that's not something we've seen Keed kind of bring to the table yet either. That was a very different play. They hadn't really played it to that degree. They hadn't gone for that kind of fake out where you just kind of... I think they smoked, was it just Fur in? I think Fur was the only one who really went towards A at the start. And then everyone else just kind of funneled through towards B.
Yeah, that man advantage they had after ZQK gets that pick, the man advantage they have, creates a gap in that defense. So they use those smokes and they find the seam perfectly, and that's what allows him to lurk out, get one more kill, force the rotate, and take that inner sight for free. So 4-4 now.
All right, I've got to ask you the question. What are you thinking of map bias here? Because this is... Generally, I don't even ask this question anymore because it's so irrelevant when you have the teams that you know. And it's like, well, this team is strong on this map. This team is... You know, you can kind of work off the back of that. But in this, what sort of scoreline will Fnatic be needing on that CT side?
Still a young map, I'm not sure, and this is actually kind of scary for him. Look at Fur, look at how aggressive this is. This is very Virtus Pro-esque. He's going to swing into the fire even. He grabs one, not able to get anything else, though.
Just speeding the hell up. We'll come back to that point because these guys are just going in right now. Steel and Fallen straight there. They've gone back to kicking it up a gear, but now they're in a 2v2. Make it a 2v1. Great play comes out from ZQK to take down Pronax, playing up by Ivy, and now you've got Flusher left. Now, ZQK is pretty low. Steel, however, pretty solid in this one. Zero amount of utility left with the T side, but Flush has got a fair bit to work with. Good little flash, but doesn't flash him up. The crossfire was really nice then, still holding that, I think, from top in the end. And that just worked out nicely for Keed. And this difference in pace from them is very impressive. They're starting to do this kind of like, all right, slow round, you know, fake play. We've just seen like a super fast kind of execute towards A. This is a really elaborate bag of tricks.
Yeah, it's changes of pace that Fnatic's actually very good at as well, that we see out of them very, very often. And it's Keedstars, you know, serving them their own medicine a little bit here. So incredibly aggressive out of Fur just to get that one kill.
Absolutely love seeing that. We'll have to see what we see on the kind of half change, because I really don't know how proficient Keed are on their CT side. You know, I know Fnatic are pretty good at this map. I wouldn't say it's their biggest comfort in the world, but they're certainly okay at it. But then again, where is the weakness to Fnatic is always the question, but still. They are down on a very minimal bit of a purchase. So what, a Deagle, P250, not a great deal to work with, but it always feels they can do damage here, regardless of even if it's just, you know, getting 1-2 players down. They always feel like there's something they can achieve.
Yeah, and look at how passive and cautious Keedstars is actually playing. They're waiting for one of those CZ pushes out of Flusher or JW, something crazy that's going to catch him off guard. That nade onto JW brings him down to 26, so that's a great find for damage.
Yeah, and JW, I'm really hoping he picks up the ult pretty soon, because he does like to do this aggressive play, and he always kind of pressures Pop in this sort of position, but Fallen just sweeps him aside. Comfortably deals with him, no problem there. 35 seconds though, we're seeing go time. Can Fnatic make any impact in this round? It looks like a big resounding no so far. Keed moving in swiftly, retaining every single player. Bomb plant as well. That's exactly what they need here.
Yeah, and I think you brought it up perfectly. Is JW, we see him so many highlight clips on this map with the AWP. This is the first time he's been able to get it. Keedstars has done a fantastic job. Even through a 4-round win streak by Fnatic, they kept the economy of Fnatic so incredibly low. So now finally we get that AWP out on the defensive side, and we'll see what kind of change that can bring to this defense.
And this is the boost I was talking about earlier that I really like seeing JW play. It just, even if they do the smokes towards the A side, you can also just about see above it too. I absolutely love it when he plays as he shows some extraordinarily good positioning. But Bolts is getting challenged down on Ivy as Pronax just a little bit superior in watching that one, but still. At the moment, they're now down a player. This is something they've not really had the position of, you know, being in. Does this still look like they're going for this kind of split play? Are they going for the picks? How are Keed looking to get back in this?
It looked like Steel was going to try and take the opportunity to lurk out of upper and try and catch a solo player off guard, but Olofmeister rotates just in time, picks him off. So with Pronax's kill combined, that's a 5-on-3, and now it's just Keedstars. Look how split they are on the map. There's nothing they can do quite yet as a team. It's going to be all up to someone finding a kill somehow in some one-on-one battle, some duel, and going from there.
I don't know if I can see this happening, because Fnatic have put themselves in such awkward positions as well. JW's playing pretty far back. You've got Crims as well, sitting up top. Pronax all the way pulled back after he went aggressive on Ivy earlier. And then you got Flusher and Olaf also holding all these close, awkward angles that if you don't commit towards a site, you're not really going to find him. You can't pick him too easy, but we're going to see if and maybe Fallen can pull something together here. Olaf's being spammed out, but he knows he hasn't been seen yet, but Crims already takes down ZQK, and these guys are really grinding to a halt. Fur is already off. He's elsewhere. He's got the hell out of the dodge, maybe looking to swing up on towards A, but that's the bomb down. Olaf finds Fallen. It doesn't matter. Fur will have to pull off something insane right now, and he's got 3 players, guns staring at him, can't get a thing done. And Fnatic kind of bringing themselves back in here, but it seems that when they get that opening pick, it's so hard to get anything against them after that.
Yeah, you said it perfectly. They force them into those situations where they have to commit to a bomb site. They don't give anything up. And here's that double op setup out of Keedstars. Fallen and ZQK both picking it up now. So not only changing up the pace, but they're changing up the weaponry they're going to use. And JW, the only one with the op on his side, he could get caught off guard. There is one running. That was the opportunity for Fallen, but he misses it.
Yeah, that is a huge blow then. To get that opening pick would have been perfect. They could have built off the back of it, but not to be the case. And I like the way they're just slightly varying in the way they're playing. But look at this. This is the play we were maybe discussing a little earlier. ZQK boosted up on top of Fur's head, just looking above that smoke. And I think a certain Anders might have been speaking to Keedstars at this sort of rate, but Fallen has put it to use, taken down Pronax, and actually opened up an opportunity here.
Yeah, that's the goal of having the AWP, is finding those early picks in these rounds, and they do grab one, but still, Fnatic, one of the best teams at playing with a man down. The only issue is it's usually off the back of some information plays and some good reads, and the ops can punish those very easily, and it looks like they're going to regroup over towards this B bomb site where Flusha is still all alone.
Yeah, but gotta have that feeling that as soon as something goes down, Olaf's super close by. Flush can buy just a little bit of time. He's still got a molly, I guess. He's still got that flash. He could buy a little bit. And it looks like the T-side are setting up with some smokes here, actually doing the proper setup play coming out. And this is them going to go. Let's see how Flusher deals with this one. He is flashed. He is under pressure, but he's still alive. But there we go. Fur comes bursting out. And it's going to be Olaf just pushing straight through that smoke. Goes in, doesn't care about this one. Challenging straight up. Crims to take down Fallen. But the bomb is planted. 3v3. We're going to see these orbs coming into practice now. Let's see what they can achieve. ZQK and Bolts to hold this one down. Bolts gets Crims. And now the bomb being just tickled with there as JW finds ZQK. It's all on Bolts, and there's Olaf just doing what he does best, putting a player in that discomfort and just kind of playing to the absolute maximum. I love that play, but Fnatic then on that retake, they always seem to just know what to do exactly in those situations.
Stellar. And Fur, you got to say, Fur, when he's on this entry feeling that he's got going on, we've seen him run through a Molotov in the outer bomb site. That time he runs through a smoke, just pre-aiming at where Flusha is behind the bomb train, eliminates him for his team. Continues to get aggressive. Unfortunate flash catches him, but he's playing like he just doesn't care, like he just wants to go find these kills. It's great stuff from him, and now we're going to have that fast-paced outer hit again.
Yeah, aggressive play once again coming out from Keed, looking like they love to kick it up a bit of a gear, but Crims actually under severe pressure. I think he got the molly actually put towards his feet, and now Pronax left, right, and center looking for an option, but no, the AK of Fur finds him first, and once again, Keed just pouring out towards this A side, leaving JW in a 1v3. Bomb is yet to go down, so maybe he can find something, but you've already got Fallen like edging into a great position here. He's going to be watching that cross through, if not even pushing further if he wanted.
Yeah, and this is so smart from Keedstars. Even in a 3-on-1, look at how they've slowed it down. They're playing it cautiously. They've had about 20 seconds to put the bomb down. They're just now getting to it. That's forced JW into a situation where he's got to be a little bit wary of that inner bomb site. But in a 1-on-3, they don't give anything back. They don't even give JW the chance to work some magic in this round.
And that's exactly how you have to treat JW. It doesn't matter if he's in a 1v3, you still have to treat it like a threat. This guy, time and time again, will do this, but we've got Fallen already starting to work around the back. ZQK starting to kind of tighten the noose here, but there we go. JW kicks it off, but time is of the essence, and Bolts will be that last man who could stop it if it does come into place, but the bomb is ticking a little too fast here, and I think JW just wants to maybe keep hold of that up, but already I think that would be Fallen trying to challenge it. Bolts is actually coming down as well, and JW says, I'm all right with that. I'll hop the other way.
Yeah, smart. Just run back towards the bomb where, no one could possibly be. So great round from Keedstars. That was extremely hectic on the execute. Once they get those kills, Fnatic players just flying through smokes. Olaf peeking around one. Flusha flanking from inner bomb site, running through a smoke, and they weren't able to string any kills together. They were only able to get one here or there. And Keedstars manages it very well. Another fast-paced strategy. This has been working so well for them.
Yeah, Pronax pushing straight out of Ivy. We can see these guys just going to pour in, but Olaf this time just waits for it. Doesn't kind of commit through these smokes. And look at Pronax, I said it earlier on, but here we go. Around the back, the T side aren't going towards A. They've switched up. Olaf might be catching on to this, though. It looks like Fnatic know what's coming.
Yeah, they got a great read, especially because it was only Fur coming out. He wasn't able to get anything done, so now they've all come into this bomb site, and they're playing it passively. They're waiting for the flanks to come in, and this is perfect. It doesn't even matter for JW, but Olaf Meister grabs one. Not able to connect with the second one, but Bolt's too much to do in a 1-on-3.
Yeah, Boltz has been astounding so far, but this is a little bit too far for him to try and reach towards. But still, looking at Keith, they've certainly started to build up their T side here. At least to my thoughts, we've always seen quite a CT side to this map. I wouldn't say it's necessarily CT biased, but we've always seen quite strong results coming through for it. But this so far has been a very good game. Sadly, the economy is not phenomenal for Keith coming to the last round here, but we know that they still like to play this aggressive style on here. And I wonder if they're just going to once again go for it.
Yeah, why not? It's worked, or at least once again getting Fur out with that AK-47, seeing what he can find. He's going to take that duel, but it's a JW. It's not an M4 like he's used to, and that catches him off guard.
Yeah, JW just starting to build up that momentum and confidence with that AWP, and it's beautiful to witness. And look at Olaf just smothering himself between the players, but he will get picked up by ZQK. And now kind of like a backwards picture arises. We've got Steel around that B bomb site. We've got Pronax coming out of main. And this is just like this crazy kind of setup. And Steel could do some real work here. We've got Fallen trying to stay alive for a second, but Pronax and Crims don't particularly want that to happen. Let's see if Steel can maybe elevate some of this pressure. No. Flusher holds it, locks it down, and Fnatic will exit that first half with that 8-7 scoreline. Now, play-wise, I've got to say, Key look substantially better here.
Yeah, they do it, absolutely, and it comes down to, you know, they like doing that fast strategy outside, that aggressiveness that we didn't see on Inferno whatsoever. Inferno can be a difficult map to be aggressive like that on, so this one lends itself a little bit better. They're able to get out. Fur with that entry fragging was fearless. He just coming through the fire, finding kills. Some of those executes on those bomb sites ended so incredibly quickly, but it was very well done. You got to look at as well Olaf Meister for Fnatic. He's came to play here.
Yeah, Olaf not messing around. I think he had a pretty decent performance as well in the first map. But this one, he's certainly finding a little more footing. And I think this is the map that, as we said, if it comes to it, I think we could see a better game out of this one. And I wish I'd done a little bit more of a look towards what Keed can do on the CT side, because I remember watching their games against Luminosity. They were pretty darn strong. That went into overtime during the regular season.
They actually played on train twice, those two teams.
Yeah, it's insane that both came down to that. But, you know, Keed have always seemed very competent here, but I think it's just that NA-EU style that can clash on this one, and this does allow for that slightly more aggressive play to come through, as you said, that got Keed the opportunity. But now looking at it this way, would we say that Fnatic's T-side will just blow Keed out of the water? You know, they looked very competent last time on their T-side on Inferno, but what do you expect here?
It's going to depend. It's going to depend on the op from Fallen and ZQK if they decide to go double op or single op. And if they decide to go double op, then it's going to have to be effective from the get-go. They cannot be in a situation, because they do want an op, and they do need ZQK with that AWP to come alive. But if they get punished for a double op so early, that's going to throw their economy into shambles, and it's going to be so incredibly hard for them to reset it to be able to afford that double op. They'll have to save twice, and that's giving a lot of rounds to Fnatic.
But you say that they not love doing it, but sometimes they do fall literally into that habit of then constantly being, you know, on that buy and then instantly back down to having such little money to work with and almost doubling up on it.
Yeah, you know? They've had some matches in the season where it just seems like they buy a double op, and if they lose, they just save, and then they go for that double op, and then if they lose, they save, and then they go for the double op just repeatedly, and that's too many eco rounds. You want to talk about money management, it's got to come down to what you can do on your save rounds, and if whether you're force buying Tech 9s, you have to be effective in those rounds.
Well, we're going to find out very soon how they're going to come into this. The teams are ready, I do believe. And we're going to find out who is going to be working this one through. We can go to the third map still if Keedstars pick up this half and take the victory. However, if Fnatic close it down, lock it out, it is them going through to the semi-finals. Simple as that. Let's get into this one on the CT side. It will be Keedstars. On the T side, Fnatic. And I cannot wait to see who's going to really break through here. What are we expecting to see from the T side straight away?
They seem actually pretty spread out at the moment. They're getting they have control of box halls, so that means that Keedstars has to respect the possibility of coming out that upper ramp. That's why you see two players still there, but otherwise the outside defense is very, very far back. Now 2 players from Fnatic. This is going to be a crunch out of the outer bomb site. 2 players coming up alley, 1 coming out mid, pushing to help out alley, and look at that shot from Flusha. Boltz gets one first though.
Yeah, a bit of a 1-for-1 exchange, but the T side have gained a hell of a lot of control now towards A. They've got the bomb site and they pushed them in towards a corner, but Bolt's still trying to get him out of this mess. He's doing the 1-for-1 trades for the whole team pretty much. As now JW, Olaf and Flusher starting to infiltrate the map, and they're going straight through towards B. This is brilliant. ZQK now tries to back up adjust. Steel's on the way, but JW's waiting. He knows that there's a possibility that they haven't crossed yet. And 2 1v1s are so definitive here. Olaf wins his with ZQK, but JW still has... Oh no, JW just waiting out the time perfectly, and he will, just with Olaf, claim the second on towards Bolts. And sometimes just the positioning and the timing just works out in favor.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Still doesn't clear that corner, walks right by him, but a clever pistol round. They get outside and they make the call. They know it's a 3-on-3. They got the information of where they could be, and they make that call to rotate towards inner so incredibly quickly. And jumping around those corners is so hard to land a shot with that USP, so they get in pretty much for free in the bomb planted, and they just win it from there. And a little bit of a force buy. CC Fallen and ZQK have both just bought pistols. That means they want to have as much money as possible without investing in armor.
Let's see what they can then kind of transfer that to later into this one. JW will find Fur to begin with, but not too much of a loss, I guess, but it's not ideal at this point. And once again, Fnatic taking the time, gaining map control so early on, and making it look so comfortable for them here. Olaf taking down Fallen, opening up a bomb site. We've got Pronax kind of toying with the idea of maybe going back around. The only danger is actually ZQK is right there and waiting. He can't do anything with the Deagle, and now Steel, last man alive, will find Flusher at least. But Pronax is already off with that bomb. He's over towards A. There is no risk here coming out from Fnatic. They're not leaving it to chance at all.
No, but actually this movement could actually catch him off guard. It does grab Olaf, so they don't expect him to be that far away. They thought he was still around the bomb train, and a second one from Steel. So making it costly, and that was actually crucial. That's great play from Steel, just because they hadn't done anything with that force buy. They had a scout, they had 2 players fully bought out, and they hadn't done enough of it, but Steel bails him out in the end.
Really, really did, but it's kind of worrying considering Steel's not exactly having the best of performances here. And after that round, he's on 8 kills, so he got 3 that time. So, you know, he's not having the biggest of performances just yet. It'd be interesting to see if maybe that will kind of boost the confidence a little. But now looking at the CT side, they aren't just down to those pistols. 1 P250, no armor, no more, nothing really to write home about, and just Steel on B. So Fnatic can just kind of go walkabouts, and JW's enjoying this, just kind of going hunting with the P250.
Yeah, they give him a lot of space, and he's going to take advantage of it. You know he's not going to shy away from that kind of a play, and he grabs 2 there. So that anti-eco was a clean sweep for Fnatic. So 11-7. Going to see that op into JW's hands as well. And there's Fallen. He picks one up, and ZQK. So they know that without buying that armor, they're still going to be able to afford the ops. It's a glass cannon for ZQK.
Yeah, and let's have a quick listen in towards Keith to see how they're sounding right now.
Tem.
Você vai dar um flash, hein?
Liga.
É. Ó, entrou. Tem liga. Up, liga.
Cego. Foi. Tô no céu.
Tem fundo também, Sil.
Pretty calm. Pretty calm. I think they know what job JW is at least, and I want to see if those double ops do come into practice now.
Yeah, they do have 2 players dedicated towards inside right now, so 3 players outside, and with those ops, they're playing very far back, so they want to be able to grab a kill from range before Fnatic's able to hit into the site. But a nice pop flash. Pronax gets spotted out, though.
Yeah, that's such a hell of a lot of damage coming his way. He's down to 10 HP at this point, and certainly in place for a nade, but Bowles tries to step out for a centimeter, and JW just takes him out. 5v4 now. Steel, Fur, Fallen, ZQK, still both double ops in practice. They can still maybe find some shots here, but that bomb is on the move. It's in the hands of Pronax. It's not committed towards the side just yet, but JW and Olaf still with so much control here towards A. You can see Fur just holding close, trying to play this one smart, trying to find anyone making that play towards the site, but Pronax just is taking so much time here. He's just not making his move known. He's still edging towards that B site, and as the exchanges do come in towards A, it doesn't matter. Steel's gonna be the one with all the work in his hands. 3 players now pouring in. He does take down Pronax. Fallen comes towards Olaf, and we are seeing a bit of an exchange going down. Now the 2 double ops are left alive here, and they're up against Crims and Flusher. Bomb is planted. Flusher's already backing off behind that smoke. And let's see if these guys can find anything now.
Yeah, they need to get something from range because these ops aren't great at being aggressive and retaking sites. Crims, scary situation there. He gets away with it, but now he's getting surrounded. Fallen does pick him up, but it's a 1-on-1. Flusher up top.
Who's going to get the 3K? Flusher's already got 2. Fallen's got 2 on the bomb site. Flusher is just above up the ladder. Fallen comes up the ladder, gets Flusher. I don't know if he has time for this, but that was so damn insane from Fallen. But still, I think he knows that this defuse is just out of reach.
That's unfortunate. What a shot.
Damn.
What an insane shot. Still not enough to pull it out, unfortunately. So Fnatic get their 12th, and everyone's
When
laughing about
JW
it.
says 6 shot, you know you've done well.
Right.
That is the seal of approval all you need with an AWP, right?
That was absolutely nuts, and it all comes down. He buys that deagle in the first or in the second round. So there's their money for a kit right there.
Oh, when you say it like that, it just hurts a
Crushing,
little.
isn't it?
Wow. Just don't let them hear that. But it is 12-7 Fnatic now with pretty much everything they need. No AWP with JW, but still, you can see what he can do without it. He still gets a double. And once again, Keita left pretty much in tatters. They don't have a great deal to hand, but Bolts at least did get the AK, though.
The biggest issue, and you can see this pause now out of Fallen, the biggest problem for Keatstars is they don't have the money now to go back to that double op setup. I think they might be able to. Actually, no, they do have enough money. Bolts and ZQK both, actually Fallen and ZQK both have enough, so they can go right back towards that if they want.
Well, it wasn't particularly going badly for them. But then again, can you depend on someone picking up a 1v3 or almost, a 1v2 after plant?
Right.
With an AWP? I don't know. These factors aren't exactly easy, but we are seeing ZQK.
That was a quick pause.
Yeah, maybe just a quick chat. I don't know. Maybe that was just an issue.
Here's something Fnatic did during that last gun run that was actually really cool. Is Pronax with the bomb, he situates himself above ladder with the bomb while his two teammates working outside slowly. That way, he can make a decision whether he wants to drop down ladder, go out towards A, or if he can go towards B. And that's just kind of what we talk about, masking what your end game is and being very, very adaptable in the mid-round.
I think that just summarizes Fnatic as a whole perfectly. You just can't read these guys like a book. It's so difficult, but still, we're seeing ZQK finding Flusher first of all. But JW tries to go for that little walkout peek. Not going to find it this time. Fer, well aware, having none of it, taking out two very big impact players. But now Pronax is starting to look towards B. He's still got two players here to get past. He knows Steel's going to be here at least. ZQK does come across as well, so I'm just not sure if he's going to be able to get the plant in this situation. There's 3 players now here, and there we go. Pronax goes down, that's the bomb loose, and Krims knows he's in trouble. 3 HP, and I just don't think he's going to be able to even get a shot here if they're going to actually keep spraying like that.
It's a clean sweep basically for Keatstars, unless Krims can find some miracle. He's waiting for someone to come up the ladder is what he was going for, and Fer ends it either way. So all 5 members of Keatstars survive. There's going to be another buy out of Fnatic, so they've got to survive a little bit longer before they're able to break the economy.
All right, Keed, this is the chance I think they need. This is where the build-up can happen. They've got 8 rounds now, Fnatic have 13. There's no disputing Fnatic have been pretty darn good so far on their T side. But Keed, they've started to find a little bit of footing. They've started to pick up some rounds and starting to make this a little more difficult. Let's see how they want to kind of take this one through. Pronax and Flusher once again kind of just playing together in this, but this is a very different setup here. It looks like they're going to go for that standard smoke play on towards A, at least from where they're standing, but Fer looking like he wants to take a leaf out of JW's book, but that's not going to be easy when you've got those pop flashes coming in, and Pronax is not going to play that game. He's going to jump into his face, take him down, and this is going to even encourage the play from the T side. Straight towards A we go. Pronax still taking his time a little bit, but you can see the smokes there just kind of taking away a lot of what the CTs can see.
Yeah, because they know that Keita's been playing passive, especially when they have an op in their arsenal. The big thing to worry about, looked like there was going to be a flank, but he comes back towards the outer yard. But this is firmly the control of Fnatic until Fallen hits that shot, and Bolts chimes in as well.
Bolts just going big then. That's 2 kills back to back. That's JW and Olaf down, and Steel's going to find Pronax. It's just Flusher 1v4. He knows where he's planted. He gets the first, but that molly comes in, takes him out. And somehow, even though it looked like Fnatic had that completely in their hands, they had the bomb plant, they had the site under control, Keed were able to find these kills out of nowhere.
Yeah, Bolts. I mean, the biggest name we've been talking about for Keatstars in these past couple matches. He's come alive here. 2 kills there on that retake, and it's not too often that you see a retake onto Fnatic just collapse the way that did so incredibly quickly. So, effective job by Keatstars playing passive behind those smokes and then just pouncing at the opportunity given to him.
Oh, and JW going to be looking for this one. Let's see what he can find. Looking through main. Not a great deal to begin with, and we will have Olaf actually looking down towards Ivy. I think we've still got Bolts down there, so not an easy one to pick up on towards, but JW will manage to pick up Fer on towards that A side. So a nice little beginning there.
Yeah, and that plant they got in that last round allows them to buy here. So they have a pretty solid one. 4 AKs, 1 Galil. With that opening pick now, what does Fnatic decide to do? The bomb is still, there's over a minute. The bomb's at Alley, so he's got a long rotation if he wants to change his spot. Fallen tries to get aggressive, but can't land the shot. Eats some damage for his troubles there.
58 seconds here. 4v5. I'm starting to, not write Keed out of this one.
Fnatic wants to go A with this bomb because it hasn't moved out of alley. Yep. Pronax is just on the opposite side of it, just waiting for a chance. And look at the rotation this is causing. They're just being so patient and so passive. Keed have a very bad read.
They pulled 3 players away from A, basically. There's 3 players on B now. Still, ZQK and Bolts are in very much the wrong spot here. Fallen is now surrounded. He can't even make a shot out of that one. JW just takes him out, and Fnatic just smothering, getting control of that site instantly. And that was just brilliantly done. They played that out just perfectly. Steel and ZQK have got a mountain to climb now, and they've got no foothold into this.
Yeah, Keatstar's bit that fake so hard. Fnatic plays that one very patiently. Steel's going to try and make it happen. He gets one, can't get the second one. And ZQK too far away to do anything with it. That's going to be a 14th round for Fnatic. So Keatstar's string a couple together, but not able to break the economy of Fnatic, so they steal one back, and now they've got a free AWP as well.
And I just have to point out, while we're waiting for this round to close, looking at who's performing at the moment, it's no surprise Olaf is going to be there. He's been hitting a 2.61 KDA throughout the ESL ESEA Pro League on train specifically. That is a massive score. He just doesn't underperform on this map, and you can see how much of an impact he can bring towards this. But still, Fnatic, a great deal of money still to work with. They can pretty much get the perfect buy up here. We've got a hell of a lot of mollies in there. On the other side, Fulham will still have that AWP, but Fnatic so close now to getting through to those semifinals.
Yeah, and we're seeing the last stand here of the Brazilians in this best of 3, and that's a terrible start. JW picks off Bolts. He's going to grab another angle, see if he can get a second one, but losing this round, Keatstars has no money behind this.
No, they absolutely don't. This is almost bust for them. They have to make this count, but Olaf just slowly but surely walking in. Fallen's not been watching this. He turns his attention. He does make his impression, taking Olaf out, but Pronax isn't following this up, and there we go. JW makes the most of it, knowing Fallen was out of position, and now we've got that 4v4, making actually a 3v3 as Fer does find JW trying to make a little bit more of presence. But still, Steel and Fer on towards A. We've got ZQK pushed up at B, so he has all the information in hand about this site, so they should be able to play this one out to a degree in the right direction.
Well, ZQK getting very, very aggressive in the mid-round, being very surprising, and he's going to have a very fast flank once Keatstars realize it's going outside. Not only that, but he has the information. You can see his teammate in B is rotating back towards the A side anyways. They're playing passively so far back, not wanting to give up a kill until this flank has a chance to succeed.
ZQK, it's on you, buddy. Let's see what you can bring. And he's gonna bring the A game. Sprays down. Oh my word, he doesn't take out Pronax, and Pronax is still in this. Flush is gonna find Steel. And even though he's on 5 HP, finally ZQK will finish off the job. But it's Flusher in a 1v2. Bomb planted. Finally first spots him, gets the kill, locks it out. Diffuse comes in. And Keat live to fight another day, it seems.
Right, but another plant. That's gonna allow Fnatic to buy one more round here. So Keatstar, I mean, if they're able to break the economy of Fnatic at this stage in the game, when the scoreline is at 10-11, that can bring them right back into it as we close things down. But it's going to be another op in JW's hands. It's a glass cannon. He got 2 picks with it last round. They weren't able to convert it into a win. Pronax as well, sacrificing armor for utility.
I start getting nervous when I see these scorelines getting closer and closer. And Keed, if they start finding some more comfort, maybe a little more to work with, but I've got to keep my eyes on JW now. He has to be the man to make the difference for me. But as you said, glass cannon, it's not ideal. It doesn't give him a lot of time to make these shots and then back out and still be alive. It's kind of a full commitment, but it looks like we are seeing quite a decisive play from Fnatic here.
Yeah, a huge committal early on in these rounds, and Olaf, just the star player, leading them so far here, and they're going to see if he can come out and find a pick, maybe force just one rotate, just give him a little bit of space to work with at that inner bomb site. He's got to be careful. Fallen's got an angle looking underneath the smoke, sees no one in there, so they don't have to bite on this fake whatsoever, and they're not. 2 players still inside.
Yeah, ZQK is holding this well. He's actually, JW's just on the other side of that smoke. I worry that he might push through, but still, great position, plays it out well. He's got the double Flusher. Pronax go down, and this one's not done just yet, but just below him, he spots out Crims as well. This is huge for Steel, denying Fnatic any entry and control towards B. There's Fer coming into the matter, and now just Olaf alive, 1v4. He should not be able to achieve this.
He should not be able to, but he should be able to do many things that he does. And actually, he might just decide with this AWP, with 20 seconds left, and he might be feeling that it's just as hopeless as we do, so he might save it into the next round, see if he can either use it himself or drop it over to JW, see if they can make anything happen that would, maybe supplement it with a force buy and see if they can have some kind of crazy pick that'll open things up for him.
Sometimes it can just come down to those crazy picks as well, and you've got two capable players that bring them. As said, JW or Olaf can both do those sort of plays. JW a little bit more, I'd say, AWP focused into this map. I haven't seen Olaf picking up as much as we've seen Olaf kind of toying with it as well, and maybe your Infernos when they used to like kind of placing him with that on towards B with Crims. But it looks like he's just going to be the only one with this, and we're going to have the rest of the players on those Glocks.
Yeah, really not a lot of money at this stage in the game. Force buying here and then losing that would put you in a very, very tough spot. Would give Keatstars a lot of money to work with down the stretch of this match.
So, Fnatic just Glocks in hand. I'd be amazed if they even get a plant off this one, considering there's 4 players for Keatstars now on this A site. They look like they don't even allow a chance for it.
Yeah, and so far so good. They're not allowing anything. Get that opening kill. And so they're playing so passively as well. They're not pushing up. They're not giving Fnatic any opportunity to find a kill. Olaf's the one with the best chance, and he's got to come through a smoke. He spots 1 on each side of Alley. He's in a lot of trouble right now.
Oh, it's such a hard predicament to play against this, but he knows he's holding that right angle. He's not hitting the shot, though. That is rather uncharacteristic, and now goes to the left side. Doesn't get it either. He's struggling here, but he's got 2 players in front of him. Just hops out, but you got to risk it for a biscuit, but he's going to have nothing in that round. And Keatstars getting pretty close here. They are grinding these rounds together.
Right, and it'll be interesting to see if Fnatic decides to do some kind of a small buy, maybe light armor and Tech 9s. Just so, nope, they're just going to go for the straight AK-47s. P90 onto Olafmeister. Didn't really have a lot of money from saving that AWP, and the double ops is back in Keatstar's hands. ZQK Fallen both picking it up.
This could be all even. This I don't know. I don't know anymore. Keed are just starting to look a little more dangerous. Olaf is looking aggressive, though. He's actually starting to edge through that smoke on Ivy. He's not, waiting back. And actually, Fallen's not paying attention to it just yet. He's having faith that that smoke will actually cover it off. But there we go. Bolts puts a bit of attention there, and he will catch him out. But still, Pronax still with that bomb. I'm not sure if actually Bolt spotted him out then. But JW starting to go hunting as well. He makes it out. Sadly for Crims, he couldn't do it towards A. And 1 by 1, Fnatic are being picked apart here. Yeah,
by these ops. This is beautiful stuff from Keatstars. Exactly what they want. This is a very strong defense. And there goes JW. No players from Keatstars even close to dying quite yet. Fnatic hasn't found any ground, even though giving up 4 lives. And there's the 5th. Fallen swings out quickly. And a pause out of Fnatic at 14-13. Keatstars is making a stand.
So we had the pause when Keed were down. Then they started to build back up. Now we've got the pause from Fnatic. Will it swing back around?
This might be, Fnatic might have to save here. This
very genuinely, there is a real.
It's scary to say that because you never know, but they don't. They've been getting shut down by these ops. They haven't had anything that's allowing them to help them get space in that outer bomb site. And if they force by here and lose, Keatstars at 14-14 is in a very big advantage for the end of this map.
I'd love to know what is going through the Fnatic mind at the moment, almost just kind of seeing exactly what they'd be planning here. The beautiful mind of Pronax at work. But my Swedish is not very good. About 1 word is all I can achieve there. But I know the point of view streams out there are probably picking up some incredible stuff if you guys understand it. But I'd love to just get in the minds of them for a second.
Well, with the double op and how passive Keatstars is playing, I think Fnatic had the right idea. Earlier in the half, they did that smoke execute onto the bomb train that allowed them to get up and plant it, and they'd actually had him in a 4-on-4 situation that just collapsed from there. But neutralize those ops while you get the bomb down, play the post plant. It just seems like Fnatic is really loving to come outside, come into this outer site and try and find some duels with 1 or 2 players.
And it looks like they didn't go for the full force up here, so it's going to be just P250s to come out and play. Olaf will take down Fallen at least, so does remove some of the AWP threat. Crims finds ZQK, and actually Crims gets another. That's 3rd down. Don't do this to me, and JW's in the perfect spot to take down Bolts. Oh my god, Fnatic, are you serious right now? Still now 1v3. They've got the AWP in the hands of Olaf. They've got an AK with JW, and Crims is still pretty golden here. But the bomb is with Olaf, so he still needs to make the play. But now they know where Steel is. It's a 1v2.
Yeah, they know exactly where he is now, and how does Fnatic put themselves in this position? No armor even bought. This would be crushing for Keatstars to lose. Seal comes around back, and Olaf's going to get into the... Oh, no, he's going to push up forward. Seal's not able to land that shot. 10 HP. Olaf only needs to get tapped once, but he's going to get away.
Now it's to Crims. Crims is the man who's going to be able to pull this off. The double AWP is now in their hands, and if Steel can somehow force the issue, we're going to see this come to a real conclusion. He does get down Crims. Now Olaf up against Steel, but Olaf the whole time has walked around, and The bomb is in the perfect spot for him. Steele just doesn't guess it right, and the bomb is ticking, and Fnatic do it again in these absolutely unwinnable rounds. They turned the hell up. They had, what, a couple of P250s? I think there was
Smoke
one
and two
molly and a
flashes.
flash, maybe.
Yeah.
Like,
That's stunning.
no other team can do this.
And Keatstars held them at bay and similar executes when Fnatic had AWPs and AK-47s, but that's unreal. And just the play by Olafmeister there at the very end, so incredibly smart to just relocate.
And ballsy as hell.
Yeah, really was.
I love this smoke. I love these kind of small, nuanced plays from Keed where they kind of position themselves in these spots, but then the raw talent that can come out from Fnatic is just above and beyond. But still, with 15-13, one more round of Fnatic are through to the semi-finals. Keed have made it very difficult in this map, however, and they're certainly still in this one.
Yeah, they definitely are. They've got some good early damage on a Pronax. Olaf just lurking out here, but the op is there. Fallen's got an angle on this, and it's forcing Olaf to play a little bit more honest. Nate's going to go out. Nate do a little bit of damage. He's going to use the cover of that to get away. He's playing with the ladders, trying to gather any kind of information he can. You can see one player over towards Alley. JW's got an angle in the ladder room, but no committal quite yet.
This all feels so dangerous, though. One step too far, and Fallen will see you. As you can see, Pronax now peeks out, though. Great shot towards Bolts. Doesn't get the second towards Fallen, though, so kind of these trades are keeping it just about in favor to Keed at the moment, with these four players standing. Crims, Flusher, and JW, though, not done just yet. Fur will get found, and Flusher starting to hunt elsewhere, though. He has the bomb, going to drop that off to JW, and they are getting the hell out towards B. But there's ZQK. He needs to hit this shot. He has to stop this. Oh, he's missed two, and these are vital, but that makes up for it. JW goes down. Now Crims and Flusher, these two players can pull this together, but ZQK once again challenging, but just not finding these shots.
Yeah, Crims is going to try and get this bomb planted. And this is... He's got a tough spot. Nate comes in, ends it, but he does get the extra money for his team. And Keatstars just... the trades, like you said, they just hang on by the skin of their teeth for there's 2-and-2 trades. And once it comes down to a 3-on-3, ZQK with that op makes a stand in the inner bomb site. It looked good for Fnatic for initially as they rotated into that B site. Seemed like they had a window of opportunity, but it got shut so quickly.
And look at this. CZ's Tech9, a Galil in play. Fnatic, see, you can never say it can't be their round, because we've seen what they can achieve with nothing. But then again, Keed have that double AWP presence. They have what they need. This is the round to define it. Are we going all the way? But ZQK looks like he wants to take it there. Picking up Olaf first. Doesn't get the follow-up towards JW, but he does have the advantage on the angle now. He can hold this, and JW is going to have to pull off some of that magic to get back in this one.
Yeah, or Flusher with that CZ can create his own opportunities, but now with that pick, looks like Keatstar is playing just very conservative, not even really going for picks, just waiting to see if Fnatic's going to commit outside of a choke point. Currently smoked off in mid. Pronax and JW have nothing to do but try and jump over and spot it. And this defense is just set up in a line across the map. They're giving some opportunities in mid. There is some space to work with because that's where they want to lure them. They want to lure them out into their AWPs.
And JW has been so close to finding about two players so far. I think it was Pronax who was actually baiting himself almost out to allow JW the safer pick, but didn't find it. Fallen will claim some real higher ground presence towards A. He's just going to be on perch up here, just going to be keeping eyes on with that AWP. JW going to toy with it. Look at that beautiful movement, but he's so confident, and the rest of his teammates are waiting on B. Let's see if he can find this one, though. He's still hunting. He doesn't get the shot he needs towards the site. And actually, that's going to force ZQK to pull back a little. They fully believe that they might be going towards A here. And Crims and Flusher are backing off. They're going back round towards A. This could be a disaster. JW's walked out on site, but Fallen now stops him. This could be going to overtime. This might not be over just yet. Fallen is doing the damage, but 9 seconds left. This is going to come down to the wire. Pronax and Flusher to hold on. And there we go. Keed bring it back. It's 15-15. We are not done just yet.
Yeah, overtime for the elimination map. That's huge from Keatstars. What a defensive stand they put together off the back of those double ops that they've loved all season long. Absolutely huge.
And summarizing it in that last round, 2 for ZQK, 2 for Fallen. Once they got it, big impact.
It's something like when both of those players with the op, ZQK has like a 3.6 KDA with it, and I think Fallen has like a 2.1 KDA, both very effective oppers, and you could see it there. They were on fire, stopped all that kind of lurking pressure, the aggressive lurks out of Fnatic throughout that whole half.
I'm so impressed with what Keed were able to achieve, if I'm completely honest. Fnatic, you could see how much they can control teams and drag them left, right, and center and, force them into these unwanted situations, and how good they are as well, even on just pistol rounds when they have nothing else. And for Keed to hold on, and it felt like holding on. It was impressive. You can't deny what they brought here, but let's take it into kind of what overtime means and what are going to be the defining factors between these two? Because Fnatic seemed like they got a little bit lost for an answer maybe on that T side at times. They didn't quite have that smoothness. The money wasn't always perfect. They were down a couple of times. But Keed also struggled a little on theirs. So how are we going to really break this down if you had to kind of support one in overtime?
Well, they're going to be starting with 10,000 start money. So the big thing is that if Keedstars are going to play with that double op setup right off the bat, I know what they do is they buy a little bit light utility on their oppers. They buy light armor on them. They try and minimize the amount of money that they're using outside of the AWPs and armor. So, because it's so expensive. And if Fnatic's able to win that first round, they're going to punish that. They're going to punish that double op buy initially. And you can actually see teams who rely on the AWP get in a tough spot economically, come the third round of overtime. So Fnatic winning early on, winning the first round of this overtime could be absolutely huge for them. But Keedstars, all they can really think about is doing exactly what they've been doing this entire half, which is playing that great defense. Go for that double op however you want to do it. You just have to rely on it and trust that it's going to work.
All right, so the headsets are going back on, and it's MR3.
Yes, MR3, $10,000 start money.
Oh, this is pressure if I've ever seen it. I don't know who to back in this, because Fnatic are just above and beyond one of those teams that just don't ever seem to feel real pressure. I don't know. I really don't know how to put this. Okay, where's your money going?
Fnatic's a pretty safe bet, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, you go for Fnatic?
Yeah, I mean, I bet I'm to win 2-0. I can't go away from now that it's hit overtime. But that defense, it's tough because the defense looked great, and it's kind of countering that double op outside is kind of counters exactly what Fnatic's tried to do, because they're trying to get, Olaf Meister out by that first train, trying to let him lurk, trying to let him play his own game and find some kills. JW, when he has an op, is getting behind that first or second train, trying to find an angle that's not covered and find a kill that way. But two ops outside does a great job of neutralizing that. So I'm expecting to see a change out of how Fnatic approaches these overtime rounds.
Well, we're seconds away, ladies and gents. We're about to be going into overtime here between Fnatic and Keedstars. We said map 2 was going to be explosive in comparison to the first. It is a completely different day here. This could be Fnatic sealing the deal right here, right now, or we're going to that third map. Let's find out. We are seeing what we suspected, the double orb coming out for Fallen and ZQK, but it's a big investment, and with this start money, it's definitely not light. You said that they liked it a little lighter then, but they're investing heavily and putting a lot on this first round.
Yeah, I mean, I'm of the opinion if Fnatic wins this round, they're going to win the entire map, just with how crippling that is. They throw a fake outside. They've pulled the rotator away from the B side, although he is coming back now, so they don't see enough presence. So they have a good read now, and there's an op. ZQK, but JW, what a shot.
That could just define all of this. Him taking down the guy who started to read it beforehand. Pronax takes down Steel. That's Crims getting the bomb down. And this is Fur, Fallen, and Bolt in the wrong place at the wrong time. Fur going to bring it back on towards Flusher, but there's still so much to achieve here. Great shot from Fallen comes out, but still one player on the side. Olaf slowly coming over, and we've got JW still waiting above. And there we go. Fur gets found pushing forward, but Fallen does make the impact, but he's still in a 1v2. The bomb is ticking. He knows he's up against it. JW, I think, spotted out that was a pure and utter fake. And this is going to have to be something extraordinary. Nade comes up, the defuse comes in, and JW plants a bullet in his brain. And that's Fnatic with the first round in an MR3. That is very important.
Yeah, now they can't have the double op setup. Now it's all M4s for Keedstars. And once again, if they lose this round, that next round is going to be just pistols. So JW, what a shot jumping down that ramp, opening things up, and then even Pronax onto Steel, catching the top of the head as he falls off the upper ramp, just lights out shots to open up that bomb site.
Yeah, and that's just be done with. And they know it as well. They know those two players played that. We see actually a very dedicated play towards A at the moment so far with the smokes coming out. You can see the two kind of above pop almost coming through the window if they place it there, but Bolt's pushing up, making it a little difficult. And there we go. Steel and ZQK doing the same thing. Pronax and Flusher are going to be challenged out early. This is different, but it's risky, and risk doesn't always reap the rewards, but that does. Steel with the double coming up big, denying the B side of things, and the bomb is left loose. But you've still got JW, you've still got Crims, and that is a massive threat to deal with.
Yeah, great aggression inside. Finds them an awesome opportunity at 3-on-2. to get some money back in the bank, put a round on the board on the CT side. But still, JW and Crims to deal with. That's still a scary prospect, even in a 3-on-2, and they're playing it so passively, but JW doesn't like that kind. He hits the shot as Steel swings out.
JW is just being a defining factor right now for Fnatic. And the flash comes in. Crims slows it down. He doesn't want to just cross straight out. He knows there could be a danger of someone pushing around train 1 and 2. And there is. It's Fur, but there's JW letting off the shot. He knows what's going on here. Crims makes the peak, but they're still alive. And Key turning it around, taking the 1v1s, bringing it back to 1 apiece now.
And also, crucially, Fur picks up the AWP. So even though Fallen and ZQK do not have a lot of money whatsoever, they're able to drop an op over, so they are going to have at least one for this defense. But great 2-on-2 to win there. Keatstar, I mean, Crims makes a great play. Swings out of ladder room in that 2-on-2 because JW has occupied his opponent. So he knows he's going to have an easy shot, but he can't land it.
This is dangerous as hell. ZQK, what, he's got the Mag 7? It's coming down to, scraping it together. 16-16. Pronax, Olaf, Crims, down by Ivy. Bomb is there this time. Something we've seen a couple of times coming through, but this is a much more dedicated play. Bolts is extraordinary flash, but Fallen just kicks him back, says no, but gets another. That is beautiful play from Fallen, but has it bought enough time? First on the side, he's trying to keep this one together as well, but he gets picked up by Flusher, and now 3v2. Keter in real trouble.
Oh yeah, it's all going to be onto this Mag 7. He comes down ladder, and Flush is not going to be faked out. He's waiting for it. He knows the timing. He sees him walking through, sees the shadow, executes him through the edge of the smoke. 17-16 for Fnatic. 2 rounds for them in that first overtime.
Massive score for them as well. That's a great T-side. And let's flip the coin. What did we make of Keed on their T-side? Did we find much comfort in it, or was it not quite up to par with what we saw them achieve on their CT? But
I liked it a lot. You just got to be worried about Fnatic's ability to adjust. They've been in so many situations, so many big tournaments, and I mean, Keatstar's that fast strategy. What does Fnatic have in store to shut it down? Although this is interesting, Fallen picks up a P90.
What? Just to clarify again, it is 10k start money, so there's no other reason to go for this other than being actually wanting to. But we saw Olaf doing this on their T side, pushing down Ivy a couple of times as well. So maybe there's something there. But JW already finds Fur. Great start for Fnatic now coming to this one. 4 players on towards that A bomb site, and Pronax playing the time, the flashes so perfectly. But we did still see that P90 at least getting 1 kill. But they're down to 3 players, and they're starting to look a little bit tired out at the moment.
Yeah, 3-3 right now though, and Steel's going to be pushing up. Crims isn't looking for him. He gets eliminated 2-on-3, but look at the health of these Keatstars players. Very, very low, and Flush is going to have a great positioning in this corner.
But does he know Bolts is there? I assume he's going to check.
Bolts has a kill, so he's got to know that it's possible that he's there. So that's had to have been called out earlier, and Olaf is just going to get aggressive. He doesn't sense any pressure. They're going to try and clear these train alleys out. Olaf's going to flush him out into Flush's crosshair.
Oh, this is disastrous. They're gonna line up for him almost. There's the first. He almost gets the second straight off the back, and he will close it down. 18-16. Fnatic building up so well here. And I think the problem is that now on match point, Fnatic have everything they need. The T side of Keystars just don't seem to be able to even get into this T side yet.
Yeah, I mean, that's a situation where Keed running that fast strategy where they let Fur just be insanely aggressive, but JW, like he did in the first half, puts his stamp onto this overtime and shuts it down quickly before anything can come from it.
All right, here we go. This could be a Fnatic now 1 round away from getting through to the semi-finals. And Pronax just getting a little bit cheeky here. And he might find a little bit of information. Nice little bit of information gathered, but he's got to be careful. Bolts is still challenging down this one. Fur, ZQK, and Steel waiting out. The bomb is completely uncommitted, but look at the damage he's caused towards Bolts already.
Yeah, and he's going to grab one. True Fnatic fashion. Just why ever fall back? Why not stay aggressive? You've got that headshot onto Bolts now and 1 kill. Great job by Pronax. Now he has so much information. He's eliminated 1 avenue of attack for Keatstars, and this is perfect. This is a great spot for Fnatic on match point.
Absolutely brilliant. Ballsy play again, an intelligent play from Pronax. It's just, the combination is deadly, but we've seen Olaf now push up as well. JW's quite pushed up. Fnatic are holding very close. They're not backing away. They're not giving up map control. And this is going to be do or die for Keedstars.
Yeah, they've actually stolen some with Pronax. He knows that the economy's too low for Keedstars to have an AWP, so he makes that calculated risk, and it works out perfectly for him. Here comes the execute, but Fnatic is so close to these choke points.
Oh, this is going to be a disaster. Look at Crims. He's just spraying down wildly in towards Pop, but he knows the players are there. Spins around, gets the tag on steal. Not much more, but Olaf weighing it up. It's just flashed up, though. He can't make these shots, and actually, Keed have broken in, but on the hunt, round the back, it's JW missing. Fnatic aren't hitting these shots like they normally do, but there we go. JW comes in, and it's all on bolts. 1v4 to keep hope alive. Bomb is down, and it's Fnatic going through to the semi-finals. Another day at the office, it looked like, for those lads. They meant business on the first map, but Train was not easy. Train, they got pushed damn hard by Keed. It went to overtime, and it took a hell of a lot of digging deep from Fnatic to pull that one off.
Yeah, great showing from Keed, actually. The aggressiveness that they showed on Train on their terrace side, they didn't have it on Inferno, but it worked out fantastically for him in that first half. And that we've mentioned the double up setup out of Keedstars a couple times throughout this tournament. They showed why it's so strong there in that second half.
And they also showed how dangerous it can be as well.
Right.
When it doesn't work out, the impact it can play. But it sums up Keed. They're a big impact team. They like to go big or go home sometimes.
Yeah.
And you saw on Train, it almost worked for them. It was so close to being the defining factor there, but sadly wasn't to be. And I almost feel sad that Inferno was the first in a way. I'd have loved to seen a little bit more of time coming out from Keed. They just weren't quite there on the first second. Keed performed, but Fnatic look like they mean business. I think we can summarize from this one.
Yeah, well, it's interesting that you said that too, because Inferno was Keedstars picks. They felt very confident on that, despite going up against Fnatic on it, who's a scary, scary opponent on that map, and they showed why. They shut everything down, wouldn't let him execute onto Inferno, and then on Train, they just outlast him in that crazy overtime game.
All right, guys, I believe that's enough from us. Let's head back towards the desk with Alex and the analysis boys.
Thanks, Lauren. Another day in the office was a nice summary of that game for Fnatic. Train, a little bit more difficult than their first map, Inferno. And Moses raises a good point. That was Keedstar's pick and still fell foul to the magic wonders of Fnatic. But, I mean, an overview then, starting with you, Devil Walk, of that game. It's got to be said, we said Fnatic kind of going to be desperate to prove that they are still that top team. And do you think they've done that today?
I feel like they played well, but Keed also played very, very solid. I don't feel like it was Fnatic doing mistakes this time that kind of led to the overtime and very, very close game. So I'm actually really impressed by how Keed actually played, especially their like T side in the beginning, like how they actually started it out.
Yeah, that was super crazy, wasn't it? And like Moses was talking about the double up setup as well, very, very aggressive style on that terrace side, and Fnatic having a hard time really handling it. So looked like a game that could have gone either way, but yeah, some tricks up Fnatic's sleeves towards the end as well.
Yeah, and a defining factor for me, Natu?
It has to be overtime first round. Fnatic T side, they've smoked yard and then just went for inner, and you saw JW jumping down on the lower ramp on top of a Molotov, getting a pick towards the link, and then opening that bomb site, and then eventually Fnatic taking that round.
People can fall into the trap with Molotovs where they assume, right, there's a molly there, they're not coming. Like that's something you see even the pros make that mistake, and JW just challenging everything you believe.
And just what can I say? It says like there's nothing to be said.
There's nothing to be said.
And I also want to point out, I mean, they were in big trouble for a while, and winning that eco after that break time, talking things through, for me that's just like that was also like a huge moment for them. I mean, I don't think they actually prepared anything special for that round. I think they just calmed down, like got a clearer mindset, and then they prepared for the next round. But I mean, I feel it was a perfectly timed pause, like really, really like good. I think that was just a determining factor.
There were moments to me though on Fnatic's T side where they play really loose style, and when they do that and they're not getting their picks, it does not look really pretty at all. It looks quite the opposite. It looks like you're watching matchmaking, to be honest with you. Seriously, It's like people running out doing what seems like makes no sense. But when you're getting kills, it makes a lot of sense, and that's what Fnatic does more often than not. But here you saw quite a few examples where they were not getting the kills and then just fell apart.
fell apart, they did indeed. And with that game then under Fnatic's belt, we can have a look at how the standings are looking. I was going to say standings are standing for the semi-finals. Counterlogic Gaming up against Cloud9. An American v American semi-final. We have that guaranteed American presence in the finals. It's been a long time since we've seen something like that, gentlemen.
It's impressive. It means no matter what, we'll have an American team in the finals. That's absolutely certain now in what is the biggest tournament that's been so far in Counter-Strike. So that is super impressive and obviously very entertaining and very exciting. And the other one, Fnatic versus Virtus.pro, will not be an easy matchup for Fnatic. VP is one of the hardest teams in the world to play against. So yeah, this is going to be rough.
It's kind of funny how we actually predicted how the NA teams would boost themselves up to the final.
Was that how you describe it?
Oh, no. I mean, not really. I mean, they won fair and square. I mean, they were the better team in the matchups they played. So, I mean, they totally deserve to have an American team there.
And as if by magic, JW has joined us. Good to have you here. Welcome to the desk. The first question that has to be asked is, did you expect this to be, I mean, is it fair to describe this as it's been a bit of a challenging few days for you guys?
We didn't really expect like CLG, to be honest, but Kid Stars, we knew they are very hardworking and a good team, so we expected them to be the hardest opponent for us, to be honest. But yeah, we got upset by Counterlogic game, and they played very good. So yeah, we didn't really expect it, but yeah.
You've dealt with it then. That's the other way to summarize it. But talking about the map picks in that game, starting on Inferno, which was their pick. Were you expecting them to try and aim for Inferno?
Both yes and no, because they beat TSM on Inferno, so we knew they were good on it, you know, but yeah, I don't know. I think it was a good pick for them, but we got their game rolling, you know, and we just shoot harder, to be honest. They didn't really get a chance to like anti-strat or something like that, because we just killed them.
So that's probably a fair summation. That's what we ended up having to do on the analyst desk. We were like, well, they just killed them.
Let them have spin bots and they'll have a chance.
Yeah,
that was it. That was what you said. Yeah. Train was more difficult though. Like that was you guys went into overtime. What was it that was making it so difficult for you, especially when you were kind of trying to push into those sites on T?
I think maybe we like started to relax a little bit because Inferno was like so easy, you know, for us. So we started to maybe like underestimate them a bit. It's a common problem for us, and we knew about it, and we like talk about it a lot to not make it happen. But I think that was what happened, combined with like them playing really, really good as well. We usually have a good train, and we're not scared at all to play it. So I think it was a good learning experience because they had like pretty different playing style on it if you compare to like the EU teams. But yeah, I think they played really good, and we maybe played a bit sloppy and like we thought in our head like we are in the semis already, you know.
Right, just kind of
something like that.
Wrote it off almost. Anders?
Can you tell that there's been an improvement from the North American teams in the sense that they are more prepared to play the European teams now? That they seem like they read you guys better? Do you sometimes run into rounds where you think, okay, they knew what we were doing? Like we can tell they knew what we were doing here from earlier tournaments where they've been at.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, especially like CLG, they knew almost every move we had, you know, and we were kind of prepared on it, but still, I think we got a bit caught off guard on it. Anyways, I think every European team now will like start to watch the American teams as well, you know, going into the matches, because I think that has been a huge problem as well in this tournament. Like all these 4 European teams only watch each other, you know, they only expect to like roll over the NA teams. And now they really proved that they can compete with us, and yeah, they played very good this event. So, and now they have at least one in the final. So it will be EU versus NA final in a final.
It will. And you had a question there.
Yeah, just one last question. Kind of just wanted to go through what was mentioned during the pause, what was discussed, like how was the atmosphere during that moment, and why did you feel like you needed one?
Which of the pauses? I don't remember which was
it was like 13, 14.
Oh yeah, on the train there.
Yeah, when you had eco.
We just discussed like they had double or triple up setup, I think.
Yeah.
So we thought like we should rush somewhere, and we decided to rush yard. That was the call. We were supposed to rush yard on the weapon round, but we decided like let's try to go yard on the eco and see like where they hold, you know. And then we ended up winning that eco, so we never made the weapon round, I think. But yeah, it was mostly like discussing how to counter the triple or double up, you know. And yeah, the answer was rush yard, I guess.
So you accidentally won a round where you were just trying to get information.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, fantastic.
Just Fnatic things, I guess.
So the last question for you before we do let you go is, now that we know CLG versus Cloud9 will be the other game, you lost to CLG. Where do you personally think that one would go if you had to predict it?
I think Cloud9 will be in the final, actually. I think they have like the upper hand against most NA teams, to be honest. So I think, especially if Skadoodle gets rolling, you know, I think Cloud9 will be in the final.
Yeah, you heard it here from JW. Fantastic, and good luck in your game against Virtus.pro as well. Before we do go any further, though, it's time to talk a little bit about IEM. Of course, the IEM 9 season had the pleasure of featuring the All Work, All Play movie, which they are going to be rolling out in cinemas very soon. And of course, that does put us in great stead for IEM 10 season, which will be kicking off very shortly as well. Let's take a look at All Work, All Play.
It's like nothing you'll ever experience. Anything can happen at any moment. Oh my God! People watch other people play video games. That's extraordinary.
Experience the global phenomenon.
Wow! That's insane how we've gone from little rooms to giant arenas.
All the players.
We can play from 12 to 15 hours a day.
Was it like that when we moved in?
All the drama.
South Korea has been dominating.
We started getting the fans and the groupies.
North America has struggled.
If America wins everything, it's going to flip the world on its head.
And all the action.
Welcome to the Intel Extreme Masters San Jose!
Right now, it's the battle.
We all know at any moment something unforgettable can happen.
Still alive? Are you kidding me?
All work, all play. Experience the world premiere, followed by a live eSports event, July 21st Burbank and July 28th Cologne. For tickets on sale, visit esportsandcinema.com.
Looking good. And from everyone here, as we are giggling our way to the end of day 2. It is, of course, a 4-day event. Day 3 will see the semi-finals, and 2 fantastic games will be played tomorrow. Cloud9 up against CLG, which JW has already got his eyes on Cloud9 in the final, and who will join them will be found with Fnatic up against Virtus.pro. So looking forward to that one as well. From everyone here, though, it is time to say goodbye. Devilwalk, Anders, and Natu, thanks once again for joining me, and as well as all the other casters that are hiding in the sidelines and have been casting as well. Mosey's doing a fantastic job on and off the desk, hasn't he? And so from all of us here, goodbye, and we'll see you tomorrow.